Hello once again to all of you here on Room 11, and we are back with another live stream. As you all know, India has clinched the series at the end of the fourth test match 3-1, and India will be going to Dharamshala as a very happy team. Last evening, we did mention about how important it was for India to play this particular first two sessions out and then to be the happier one of them. And India are definitely the happier one of them. India's clinched the series, and all thanks to once again Dhruv Jurel being there, calm, composed, and Shubman Gill playing a very vital 50, which he'd remember for a very long time as well. So, yeah, that's the report when it comes to the game. And obviously, we're here to talk about that chase, which went down 40 for no loss, 84 for no loss, but when the first wicket fell. We were put under pressure, obviously. 5 wickets remaining, 76 all still to get. But Dhruv Jurel and Shubman Gill showing nerves of steel to take India over the line without any hiccups at all. I have Jaren joining me. Jaren, how did you make of that particular chase? It was wonderful to watch, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think we did speak about how England can be a threat if one wicket falls as well, and that's exactly what happened. India did lose wickets in clumps, but I think by the time the job was already half done, and then it would take an completely, I think, destructive performance from India for England to go ahead and win this match, and that's where I think India held their nerves and credit to both Dhruv Jurel and Shubman Gill. I think it's definitely one of the most grittier innings that he's played so far in his career, Shubman Gill. And of course, Dhruv Jurel as well came in, I think, counter attack. And I think it was classic test match batting as well, where they stole singles, where they picked up gaps. So I think overall, I have to say that it was a very, very classical test match, a test match that I think, true cricket fans always would have enjoyed.
I mean, good point. A classical test match. I think it was an exhibition of temperament, right? We
Yeah.
often use this word as a very normal term, and we don't even consider this term in modern day cricket. The temperament, as I would like to mention. What did you make of the temperament from both of them? But before that, you reckon England missed a trick here or there? England could have done a lot better, especially when it comes to their bowling changes. Shoaib Bashir was bowling well. Remember, he was doing much better. But usage of Anderson, I personally thought he was underballed in that fourth innings. He maybe could have opened the bowling as well. You never know because he's the one who picked up Rohit Sharma in the first innings with a very good ball, and with that crack opening up, who knows? A fast bowler hitting the right crack and keep one ball keeping low, anything could have possibly happened.
I think that's where maybe I feel like the success that Ashwin got kind of got to Ben Stokes' head. Ashwin did come on early against England in that third innings, and picked up a lot of important wickets. I think he broke the back of
Yeah,
English batting with the new ball. But I think there's a lot of difference between Ashwin as a new ball bowler and Joe Root as a new ball bowler.
yeah,
Anytime a new ball is involved, I think I'd rather have Joe Root with the bat in hand than ball in hand. And James
yeah,
Anderson has been that one player for England that has picked up early wickets picked up early wickets for England for a long time. He's always ensured that either Rohit Sharma or Yashasvi Jaiswal's back. England sees their back, and yesterday that's exactly what didn't happen. Those 40 odd runs that England gave away was because Jamie Anderson was not bowling. Joe Root gave away a lot of freebies initially, and then today morning, once you saw James Anderson come in, you saw England get a little bit more control, and it wasn't as easy for India to score runs. So I think that's precisely what they did wrong. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, also the fact that you bought in your probably third best spinner in terms of skill at least. I know, I mean, Joe Root has been vital for England's bowling
yeah.
attack and he's picked up wickets, but entrusting him with a new ball was a huge gamble and that absolutely did not pay off. And I think at the kind of stage that they had, maybe if they had 200 odd runs, 250 odd runs, I would have understood Joe Root getting the ball. But having
Okay.
only 180 odd runs, that was not a very good cricketing decision.
Good point. Obviously, maybe not the ideal position to give Joe Root the first over. Could have even gone to Tom Hartley, maybe to give the first over. But either ways, that's a miss. That's a trick they missed. And always have believed that you should back your best bowler. And I thought the best bowler with the most number of wickets is James Anderson when you compare that to inexperience of Tom Hartley or Shoaib Bashir, or for the matter, even Joe Root. He's not a proper bowler. If he had lost, the meltdown would have been crazy. I mean, absolutely, there was no doubt about it. The meltdown would have been crazy because you didn't deserve to lose after being in a winning position. Agreed that you came back in this test match, but you can't lose when you're chasing 190. What did you make of that chase, Jaren? Because you mentioned temperament being used. You think India could have chased it any better, or India chased it to perfection? What did you make of the entire chase?
Yeah, I think we would have to say any test match one is a test match well done, and I think that's the thing about test matches. Yeah, you have more time on your hand. You don't really have to worry about net run rate or anything of that sort. What you really worry is to get the job done, and I think India did it in the fine fashion. Now, see, that's where we mentioned it yesterday also, where one wicket here or there, and it would could have been like house of cards, and it's not an easy pitch to bat on, that's for sure. I think
Yeah.
all the wickets that fell, you never felt like the Indian batters just gave it away. You felt like it was more better delivery that was balled by the English bowlers that that deserved wickets more or less. I mean, I know the wicket that you probably would have to say that they did a good enough job, especially once it got their first wicket. They did push India down and they tried to create more pressure. And that's where Dhruv, Jurel and Shubman Gill. I think Shubman Gill, especially because he batted for longer, you would have to really give credit to him because he ensured that he knew that there was not much to chase. They didn't really need to take risks, and it was just proper test cricket. Where you wait for when the ball comes into your area where you can play it into the gap, and that's exactly what they did. So they did not take risks till what I think 20 runs to win. When it was almost 20 runs to win is when they decided to take those risks, play some shots in the air. But till then, Shubman Gill hadn't played any shot, and that's so unlike a Shubman Gill kind of an innings where he likes to take the bowlers on, where he likes to put pressure back on. He decided to just dig in and not really give his wicket away, which is a very good sign for Indian cricket because in Test cricket, at the end of the day, you have to put a bigger price on your wicket than you would put maybe in a white ball format.
Yeah, I agree. But then, I still felt Shubman Gill improved as a batter since Dhruv came into crease because Dhruv used his feet a lot better. That also gave Shubman Gill the confidence to score those ones because Shubman Gill was slowly getting into that shell. That was not really helping because he was really stuck in a rut, and that was really not helping the team as well. Though he did not score any boundary, he hit that. You mentioned those two shots he hit. That's only two shots which he played in the entire 50 runs knock. That's the two sixers he hit in that 15 runs knock as well. That's why I want to ask you this question as well, especially when you talk about these kind of knocks, how important it is for someone like a young Dhruv Jurel in his second Test match in his career to really get the obviously you're the man of the match, but to play such knocks under pressure that really defines the player you are going to be, and that really defines who you can possibly become, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it just showed that Dhruv Jurel has temperament, has the right mindset to play Test cricket, and he also showed you can execute it. It's not as if one of the two things is missing, where either he has the technique and he can really play strokes, but then we all know how Dhruv Jurel bats. He's a lot more flashier player than what we saw in this Test match. I mean, for those of you who followed him in IPL, you would have to say that he can play a lot of strokes. He is someone who's a national stroke maker, but for him to just bog down and control his innings, and I think that's where you're right. Shubman Gill, after Yashasvi Jaiswal's wicket, you saw Rajat Patidar get out, and then you saw Ravindra Jadeja get out, probably in the most, unbelievable fashion. It was a very soft dismissal. The one ball which probably should have been the way for him to get out of jail was the final sentence, and then you had Sarfaraz Khan once again following Ravindra Jadeja back. So I think that kind of put a lot of pressure on Gill. That's been an issue with him, I think. For a while now, I think Shuman Gill kind of sometimes tends to get into that shell where
Yeah.
maybe I feel like he worries what will be the headlines if he gets out, which is not a good sign for a young player. I think there's a lot of pressure that he's putting on himself. I think we as fans have also put a lot of expectations on him, which is fair because he's shown that he can deliver, and I think that's something he still needs to escape, and that's where you need players like Dhruv Jurel because the moment Jurel came in, you saw that they were still looking for runs. It was not as if they were just going under the shell. There was a lot of respect for the pitch and the bowling that England put up, but at the same time they were always opportunistic. They were always looking for runs. They weren't throwing the wicket away, but they were also ensuring that step by step they reached the target, and that's where you have to give credit to Jurel as well.
Absolutely. I think Dhruv Jurel has really helped India to find a phenomenal wicketkeeper batter after Rishabh Pant. We all were trying to fill that hole, and we tried multiple keepers and nothing worked out. Finally, we found someone and with a lot of temperament. Now, talking about Gill in particular, something that he likes about fourth innings, right? He scored more than
Yeah.
210 runs, and that's a combination of Virat Kohli, Rahane, and Gambhir put together in successful run chases together. So that's a very good amount of runs which he scored in the fourth innings. I mean, let it be the Gabba or today. I mean, you're talking about list of Rahane, Virat Kohli, Gambhir. They have not scored 210 runs in cumulatively in successful run chases for India in fourth innings. So this is something which is done quite well. And if you look, some of the best innings of Shubman Gill has come in the second innings, and he's never been the best of first innings player as well. Now that's why he's got better average in the third innings or the fourth innings for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it as well. I think Shubman Gill is kind of is one of those players who takes a little longer. I think by the time you reach the third innings or fourth innings, you've already seen the pitch. You know what the pitch is going to do, and especially as an opener, there isn't much change from what the number 10 of an opposition player plays and what you're going to face in the next inning. So I think in that sense, maybe he's one of those players who feels a lot more comfortable in the second innings, be it third or fourth innings, like you mentioned. I think aside from that, also, he kind of understands the situation. Maybe that's also a factor where you already let him know here are the variables and this is what you need to do. And I think he feels a lot more comfortable than maybe just starting a test match, setting a tempo.
I agree. I agree. But I just want to ask you this question on the debate of number three right now. Obviously, we've had our takes on Shubman Gill's number three. You think, at least for now, he's settled it that Shubman Gill will be the number three for the long coming future, at least, because he looks like he's happy batting at number three, and he's delivered in the series. Like, he's already scored 100, 190, and a 50 here, a 38 in the first innings. He's done decently well there.
Yeah, I think two reasons. Yeah, first of all, obviously, I mean, probably not gonna see Chitashwar Pujara or Rahane come back, and even if they do, I think
Definitely not
Pujara
Rahane for
probably.
sure. Maybe
Definitely
Pujara.
not Rahane. I think Pujara is chances are very low because he's had a phenomenal Ranji Trophy season. He might as well been included in the South Africa series or maybe this series if Indian selectors felt like he would make a comeback, but he was not considered despite the injuries, which I think says something about the selectors and what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Another candidate that they probably looked for number three was Patidar, and Patidar absolutely, like Teju mentions, I genuinely think it's over for him for now. I don't think the doors are closed, but as of now, it's shut a lot tighter, and he will have to work a lot harder to make a comeback. I think this was that moment for him, so that's worked out for him really well. So all of Shubman Gill's competitors are either out of selectors' minds or haven't really performed as much as he has. And I think secondly, you're looking at the future now of Test cricket with Virat and Rohit being the last remnants of that era, that's gone by with I think already Pujara and Rahane having been shown the door, so as to say. At least to say mention that that careers are probably come to an end. Maybe here or there, where they feel like they don't have any more
Yeah.
players that they have experience. Maybe a WTC final here or there, but aside from that, I genuinely feel now Shubman Gill has a better opportunity. Obviously, I think they might still look at a few other players because Indian cricket team. That's one thing that we are blessed with, right? We don't have lack of batters, and I think eras have come and gone. Batters have never been an issue for us. It's always been bowling, which also seems to have sorted itself now. So I think for now, at least Gill is safe for a couple more series, and from there on, you never know. I think his tests will come when India starts traveling again.
Absolutely. So Teju says think they'll extend break for Bumrah and even Siraj could be rested and can play Mukesh and Akash. That's a possibility in my opinion because I don't see Siraj getting that last game. Anyways, you've sealed the series. Now you can afford to rest one of your primary fast bowlers as well. Maybe Bumrah might come back, but that's also a big question mark now considering that you won this game. But having said that, I just want to ask you this question on where do you see the next game? How do you see India come back into the next? How do you see India continue this in the next game? Because obviously India doesn't want to take the next game lightly as well. Dharamshala is yet another opportunity now with WTC being a
Yeah,
big factor. You want to win every game that you play.
absolutely. I think I was just going to say that maybe you might see a Bumrah just make a comeback because of the WTC points table. India has not had a good start after that South Africa series. Although I think as of now,
Yeah,
they
number
do
two.
seem, yeah, they're number two. They're number two. So as of now, they seem to have done well. But then you want to keep your PCT up. You don't want to drag it down, because that's something that affects when you lose matches. And every match suddenly becomes very important to you, because it's not point system anymore. It is the PCT, which is considered. And you don't want England to get that slight bit. You want to maximize home advantage, and that's the reason why you've seen countries like India and South Africa come with very spicy pitches, which augment their bowlers' strengths more than their batters' strengths, because they want results out of Test matches. Considering, having said that, I think Dharamsala is going to be a lot more challenging than whatever we have seen so far, because it's going to be, especially in the first innings, or at least in the morning session for the first 3 days, is going to be a very tricky place to bat in. That's where I feel Jimmy Anderson and Ollie Robinson might feel a lot more comfortable bowling.
Yeah.
I think they will come into the game much more. And people like Shubman Gill, who are susceptible to that moving ball, might be brought into question, might be brought under the scanner. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out, especially if they go with Mukesh and Akash, because I have a feeling that England are going to come back strong. I just felt like England won themselves this match. They did not play the baseball. That's where I mentioned earlier also. It was a classical test match. As if baseball has never happened in the history of cricket. As if England woke up one morning, had amnesia, forgot how to play baseball. Because they did not look like they were playing attacking cricket. And the only reverse sweeps you saw were from the tailenders. And that
But at the
also
same
didn't
time,
really
you
work out.
could you have afford to play a baseball kind of an innings in this kind of a pitch where it was tough to sweep, the ball was keeping low. Secondly, if you're trying to attack or try the ball on the up, try to play the ball on the up, there are chances the ball might just pop in the air, and that's exactly what you've seen with the dismissals in this test match as well. So
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
always this circumspect as to how you want to do it, and you were 1-1-2 for 5, and from there on, Joe Root had to definitely take one option, that was to be himself, back his defense. And Folks has got a very decent defense as well. They both back themselves and they did it. Second innings, you saw Crawley play somewhat kind of a baseball, but it did pay off for him. Uh, Johnny Bairstow tried to come out play. He did pay off in a slight bit, but he got out in a very expansive way. So these lads, it was a mixed game. Now,
So
that's
I
where I want
think,
to ask you about the future of
yeah,
baseball as well. Are they
yeah.
going to fine tune themselves and refine themselves now, and looking themselves that they might have to look at a lot of things from baseball perspective? It's just not about going out there and playing strokes. You when you're going to come up against conditions, you might have to just change your approach. You might have to change the way in which you approach every innings.
No, I think that's where I have to probably go back to the first innings, way back, because I think that's where Akashdeep's spell was so important, when he got out Ollie Pope, where he got out, Duckett. I think Duckett's wicket was very important, because you would have to say that, honestly speaking, you have to say that Duckett has been it's been the engine really. And we mentioned at the start, as well as during the preview, that, you want someone like, you want the openers to do the damage early on. You want them to be powering those early runs, and that's where Duckett really played a role, where he has been the one who gives that boost to England, allows him to play baseball. I think lower after Duckett and Crawley, no one really has played baseball. And whenever they've looked to play, I think probably even Stokes, he's tried here once in a while, but he's always come in a situation where he's needed to rebuild the innings and not really in a situation of strength. And that's I think that's the reason why you felt like Akash Deep getting those 2 wickets, even getting Crawley out for 42, was very important for India, because you never allowed them to kick on. And even the first innings, I think Ashwin had mentioned in the press conference that he wanted to get an early go at Duckett. He did, and then he gets Duckett out once again. And you see all of a sudden that the wind gets knocked out of the sails of English baseball. So
Yeah.
maybe I feel like that's where they could really not they could never really capitalize on that new ball. You always feel like they lose a wicket. I think in Dharamsala at least they'll hope that they get a big first innings partnership, a first wicket partnership. Maybe a 100 odd partnership. I think that'll really push them, because in India it's not that easy to play baseball, because once the ball gets semi old, and I'm not saying old, once the ball gets soft and old, it's easier to play strokes. But once the ball gets around 15 overs, where there's enough rough where the spinners can grip the ball, but at the same time it's not soft enough that the ball is not able to turn off the seam. I think that's where you struggle a little bit more, and that's exactly why batters like Joe Root, Bairstow, Stokes, you've not really seen them play their shots. So I think that's the one aspect they'll have to focus on. Where the top order, even an Ollie Pope, after that 100 he scored in the first test, if I'm not wrong, has
Yeah.
really not made has really not had anything to do with this match. So has anything to do with this England team, and he's really not performed the way he wants to. The top three are very important. Look at India and how they have done well, right? The top three, all of them have played well. Rohit Sharma scored 100, Yashasvi scored double hundreds, Shubman Gill has scored 100. So I think that's where the strength comes from, and that's where Indian batting has looked slightly little better. I think initially in the series we saw Indian batters struggle, but as the series has gone, the tables have slightly turned and Indian batters have looked more comfortable because they've made good use of the new ball. That's what they did yesterday also, and I think that's what England failed to do against the likes of Ashwin and India.
Yeah, good point. Because I think in this test series, it's always been about batting versus batting, and India has been a better batting unit. So both bowling sides had okay, at least conditions has helped certain bowling sides. India, Bumrah had done exceptionally well, and Tom Hartley and Shoaib Bashir and Rehan Ahmed had done well whenever conditions have suited them, or India's inexperienced batting really helping them as well in the middle order in certain occasions. Jaren, what I hear is true. Conway is out of IPL and Ryan Rickelton is his replacement. I don't think Conway is out of the IPL. I think he's going to be back for the Test series. So Conway is going to be
Right.
playing.
There is still a little bit of uncertainty, is what I'm hearing so far. But I think it's more related to whether they're going to be involved or not. But then you know what? Talking about Ryan Rickelton, I don't know if Chennai will be interested because he's not 35 plus. So we look for senior players.
Yeah. But I don't see any replacements as well at this point. Both Rachan Ravindra, Darren Mitchell, and all three of them are injured at this point. But
Yeah.
hopefully they all are fit by IPL, is what I'm hearing. So it was a fair match for Patidar. Should present him with Rajat Padak. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Rajat Patidar did not make use of any of the opportunities he's gotten. I think Devlal Padikal isn't a bad option if you want to give another player a chance in the Dharamshala game if KL Rahul isn't fit. I mean, let's just see how he goes about. I mean, he's done
I
well in
have a
Ranji.
feeling they might just not play KL Rahul. Might just be like take one more test match off because now they feel like this team is doing fine, and then you don't want to probably risk KL. KL might also feel like maybe there's an IPL coming here or there. Maybe that's I'm not saying that's because he wants to play IPL over Indian cricket, but maybe
Yeah.
rather he's looking at IPL as a way to get into that I mean into the T20 World Cup because I still believe he's a fringe member. He can still make it, but for that, the IPL has to be exceptionally good. So I think he might just consider that.
The Patidar could have a redemption IPL. But if you look at Teju, if you watch Patidar play in this test series, he's been unlike Patidar. Patidar is a stroke maker. He likes to
Yeah,
play his shots, but he's gotten into a shell which is not his comfort zone. I think test cricket, the name has really bogged him down to something which you shouldn't do. I mean, just go out there, however you have come here, play that same way. When you don't try to do that, that's when you are in trouble. And that's exactly what Patidar has done to himself. Somehow, Rohit and Dravid managed to escape an embarrassing series loss. I think credit where it's due. I think they've had to fight a lot of injuries in the series. If you look from a larger perspective, they've had to face a lot of injuries. No Shami, Virat, KL, Bumrah, Jadeja. They lost in the middle of the series as well. They got him back, so they've had to go through a lot. So, on that regard, they've done a very good job as a team. To come back out of adversity and to really win the series. If you look back, scoreline won't suggest how close the series has been, but it's been a very closely fought series from a lot of different angles. At least sessions wise, it's been a very closely fought series in terms of sessions. I think it was very equally shared sessions at the end of this test match. In the series, uh, in the series was experiment for certain players like Sarfraz Jurel Akash made it. Yes, it was. It's a transitional series in certain areas. You can know what the next generation looks like as well from a different perspective. But ultimately, you have to say India has done a good job at the end of the day, and they'll be very happy with themselves. And India's whole, I'll never give credit to Paras Mamre. I just still want him sacked. I agree. I'll still not give it credit to him. But my opinion is still the same. Rohit Sharma has done a very decent job as a captain. Paras Mamre, Vikram Rathore, I still think I'm not really confident with them as coaching staff because I don't see any improvement in batters. I mean, what have you done? And talking to someone like Rajat Patidar for that matter, or how you should be batting in these kind of turning wickets. I mean, you're still falling into the same prey again and again. Dhruv Jurel is a fine-tuned player who's come out of Rajasthan Royals Academy. I mean, that guy's face. I just read an article about Yashasvi and Dhruv Jurel where they were groomed under their academy. Now we speak about IPL being a antithetic thing to Test cricket, but if you look, some of the academies have really done well because of IPL. and these two lads have come straight out of it.
There's a
I
video
mean,
of Joe Root teaching Yashasvi Jaiswal how to hit. I think it was more like Yashasvi Jaiswal being taught how to hit a six by Joe Root, and
I
then
think it was
transition.
Butler, right?
No, everything is Joe Root.
It was
Oh,
Butler.
it
It
was
was
Butler.
Butler.
It was Butler. It was Butler. Yeah, it was Butler showing Yashasvi how to hit a six, and then cut to Yashasvi hitting a six in the same way against Joe Root. Yeah, yeah, that's how it was. So, I mean
No,
that
I'm not
experience.
talking about that part of things. I'm talking about the academy, like on the off season, where these two have been trained by Zubin Barucha,
Yeah,
especially 140 overs a day, which was faced by this guy Dhruv. Jurel was an exceptional story, and Zubin Barucha helping Yashasvi's power game was a very interesting story to learn as well. So I think credit where it's due. RR Academy has done well, and both players coming out of the same academy in this very series is a testament to what the good work has been done by the academy. I hope more of these players come as well as the time progress. And I'm really looking forward to Rian Parag as well in the longer format of things because he's done a decent job. I mean, this guy, I hope this is a season for him. It's
me
a lot
too.
of hype.
I
I
mean, we
hope he does
always
well.
keep saying it. I still believe that kid has got something in him. It's just that it's not coming off, and it's come off elsewhere. Just
Yeah,
IPL, I think he's been a slightly, I just feel like he sometimes reads into things a little bit too much, reacts on social media on every little thing, and maybe that's not helping him somewhere. I think that's the one thing that maybe senior players need to talk to him, because I genuinely don't think it's a lack of talent. I genuinely don't think it's overconfidence either, because he's done it. He's done it in Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy time and time again, and he gets out in various ways. Like he just finds ways to get out. But then whenever RR has needed him, he stepped up. It's not like he's never stepped up. It's just that he has always come off good in games where RR always end up losing because the
yeah,
situation is so dire, and he just makes it slightly better so people don't really focus on him. But I have to say, I still think there is something that Riyan Parag can do with his
yeah.
cricketing career. I know people write him off as a meme, but you know that what is that Hindi song? Edit करके तूने मेरा मीम बना दिया.
Yeah, get
Could
that.
be his day, could be his day. You never know.
I mean, I agree. I mean, totally. At the end of the day, there's a lot of unnecessary hatred which has been thrown out at that lad. But yeah, as I'm just giving credit to RR Academy, I hope they're able to groom this guy as well pretty well. So that's when it comes to the academy side of things. But other than that, going into the last match of the series, I hope India continues this, win the series 4-1 because that's the only way in which you can be happy at the end of the day. You'd want to go into the IPL season with a very good test series win because after that, I think we're going to be playing the next test match in September, if I'm not wrong, against Bangladesh. So there's a lot of that's a good amount of break, right? Like it's like 7-8 months break or 6 months break before we play the next test match. And after that, we play a lot of test matches. So we need to get back in groove. So there's a last of this season, you can say so, before the next cycle starts. And next cycle is a long one, and India will have to be switched on then. So a lot of things can happen from here and then. So that's about it from us as well. Thank you all for joining. We'll be back. We're covering WPL as we've been doing today's match. As you know, it was between UP Warriors and Delhi Capitals. Now it's a very interesting pitch which has been presented in Chinnaswamy because from whatever I'm knowing, it's a female curator for the first time for women's cricket. And very interesting. Delhi Capitals has won that by 9 wickets. Very, very easy chase. Shefali Verma starting it with 64. And obviously, UP Warriors losing 2 on the bounce. Definitely that close match against RCB did not really help them. And Mazin Cap, I mean, incredible bowling today from her. 4 overs, 5 runs, 3 wickets, incredible. And McGlanning and Shefali Verma, something which you saw last season as well from both of them.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Jaren? I mean, Delhi Capitals were doing a good job once again.
Oh yeah, I mean they are a very well-rounded team. I think last year also you'd have to say, if not for the likes of MI, who were just stacked. I think MI was just what do you call in video games, OP, overpowered. If not for them, I think Delhi Capitals very well deserved it. And I genuinely like this batting lineup that they have. The likes of obviously someone who's a legend of the game when it comes to cricket, Meg Lannon. I think for those of you who follow, women's cricket, Meg Lannon has been a huge, huge figure in women's cricket, and of course Shefali Verma, and then Jemima Rodriguez. I think these three ladies absolutely did. Absolutely, I think lit the stage up last time for Delhi, and they're just continuing the same. And Jemima has not gotten an opportunity yet, but that just shows how good Shefali and Meg Lannon are together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree. For a lot of reasons. This is a very important top order bats, both of them. When they both do well, Delhi Capitals go on to do well. And if you look at last game, they lost in the last ball, right? If not for Sanjana Sanjeevat coming and hitting the last ball six, I mean, they could have won that game as well. But they've hit back well. I
Yeah.
mean, two of the best teams of last season was Delhi Capitals and Mumbai Indians, and Delhi Capitals have gotten off to win for the first time this season. And UP Warriors have lost two on the bounce. It's a very interesting. I think as we go along, it's going to be about who gets into that top three, right? I think I already have Mumbai Indians and Delhi Capitals getting the top three. Third spot is again open for a team. So it's about how and who capitalizes it, because these two teams are very well structured and very well made. So I think in auction table, the good thing these two teams have done is they've built a very good core. So even for other teams, even to get good players is a hard task. They have to play out of the
Yeah, I
skin. But
think.
for me, the biggest disappointment has been Gujarat Giants, undoubtedly. They look like a
Hmm.
very amateur franchise at this point.
Yeah, I think we spoke about them last time as well, where we did feel like they were the worst team after the end of that, at the end of those the auctions, because they just genuinely did not get a core. Like you mentioned, in the first auction, you're looking to get a core. They got themselves Harleen Diol, Beth Mooney, but then I think after those, and of course Sneh Rana, I think, but aside from them, they've really not got themselves. Ashley Gardner as well. I'll add her as well. But aside from that, they've really not gotten those other players, who fill in those lists, who fill in those gaps where you need players with certain roles that these players can't fulfill. That's where they've really
Yeah.
missed out on. But just talking about UB Warriors as well, I think for them, they still can do really well. They've got a very good team as well. It's just that players have not performed yet, especially their batting. I think they've got Alisa Healy, who did not perform well, Talia McGrath, Grace Harris. So they've got names, Deepthi
Yeah,
Sharma, Eccleston, all of these girls do not perform with the bat as you would want them to, and that's what really helped Delhi Capitals absolutely steamroll them. So I think if they all can click, I think last year also it was the same situation for them at the start of the tournament. Later on, they caught up, but I
yeah,
think that's where these girls will have to start performing a lot earlier, because you don't want to, be nervous and have to struggle and screech and crawl towards the
yeah.
top three spot. You want it to be a comfortable one, so that you're much more at ease come the final.
I agree. That's why I think one of the areas, especially for Gujarat Giants, I think they got Phoebe Litchfield as well this season. She's had a very good season with Australia and T20 format. But I don't know, they're just not clicking at the right time. As you mentioned with UP Warriors, they've got their team. They were exceptional last
Yeah.
season. I thought they did not have the run like Mumbai Indians or Delhi Capitals, but they were good. I mean, they're decent, and that's why they made it to the eliminator. But once again, it comes down to how these teams go tomorrow. I think RCB are playing the Gujarat Giants. I'm interested to see how RCB plays there. And if RCB can get two on the bounce, I think that's going to give them a lot of confidence, because that's the number of wins they've had the whole season last time. So they feel
Yeah.
like they've they feel like they've actually got past the hurdle. Now from here on, I see RCB has got the team as well once again this season. It's
Yeah,
about
they
how
do.
they come across well, how Smriti can lead this team. Smriti has to start scoring because she's got zero 50s in WPL history, and I think captaincy is affecting her. Let's be very honest, and she has to start scoring. If Smriti can deliver alongside the likes of Elise Perry and Sophie Devine as well here and there, I think this team is good to go, because the youngsters, Indian youngsters, have done well. Meghna has done well. She's a release from Gujarat Giants, if I'm not wrong. Richard did well last game, so I think it's about time they go ahead as well. I think they've got a very decent bowling core with Sophie Mulnur, Wareham, and Asha Shobna doing well. I think
Yeah.
that's a good one. Renuka Thakur as well. So that's a very decent bowling core they have. It's about how much their batting can score. If they can start scoring runs, start chasing a lot more, I mean, they'll do a good job, I believe. I think they should make it to the top three ideally, but it's again up to the individuals to do well, come good, because they've got a good
I think,
opportunity. The players are in form.
like, just like I think how RCB started, RCB's legacy with Kohli, De Villiers, and Gale. I think same way Devine, Mandana, and Perry are the three here.
Yeah.
If they
I think it's
can,
you can compare it with the current team, right? Like Kohli, Maxwell, and Faf, like something very
yeah,
similar.
but then my point from earlier is that legacy. When you talk about the top three best players
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
we
yeah,
always talk about these three, and that
yeah,
batting core they made together. I think that's where Divine, Mandana, and Elise Perry. I know both Sophie Divine and Elise Perry are towards the end of their fag in their career. They're not really the peak players they were a long time back, but they still have got it in them, and they're still performing in the international level. So I
yeah.
think if they can combine, these three can combine, then all of a sudden this team looks really scary. And I think I think Meghna is the one who scored at 53 last time around. Uh, I think it's Sabhineni Meghna, if I'm not wrong, who scored at
Yeah,
53. Who, along with Richa Ghosh, got that partnership going for them. Really pushed them beyond the reach of UP Warriors. So I think if those three, if they can combine, then they've got the support system, behind them.
I think at least
And
from the last game, they'll be not so much under pressure because they know these youngsters have done it for us, right?
yeah,
So that pressure will be off, so they can go out there and play a lot more freely. It does not. It's not like, oh, we have to take up the majority of the scoring, and I think that's something which Smriti will have to work it out. If Smriti can play the way like she can, because the boundaries are also not the biggest in Chinnaswamy, I think
yeah,
she can really, really do well. The crowd is behind them. This is a good
yeah.
opportunity for RCB to really take it to the next level. If not now, I think, as always, it's another RCB story. They'll have to. So at least set some example for the senior men's team. To
Yeah.
know that this is the pathway we can take. This
Who
is
do you
how we.
reckon you're going to get an IPL before first? The women's team or the men's team?
Well, if you look 15 years or 16 years, I think RCB women's will get before that, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So if it's a double, I'll be very happy. But I'm not greedy.
Uh,
Uh,
you
Either way.
might as well take one, bro. Settle for
One,
one.
one.
Let's go for
Settle
two
for one.
later.
Then we'll think about two. Let's get one first. Let
Yeah.
that let there be some inspiration in the camp, right? We
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
looking for inspiration now.
Well,
Fans are
Smriti
also
Mandhana
waiting.
did say that she wants to follow Virat Kohli's legacy. So maybe that's the line where she's going.
If she's wanting to follow Virat Kohli's legacy, then she should start scoring runs. Now Virat Kohli is
That's
a captain, used to score 972 runs. Now that's
that's
one
true.
thing she
That's
should
true.
follow.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's where she should follow, and rest of the team. If Smriti Mandana starts scoring runs like she can, then I think RCB team is all good. But the biggest challenge is again going to be Mumbai Indians and likes them. They're one step ahead. I think they're
Yeah, I
way too
think
ahead.
couple of steps ahead. I think Mumbai Indians and Delhi Capitals look like the English women's team and the Australian women's team, respective. I
Yeah,
mean, not respectively, but they look like they're a couple of steps ahead of all the other franchises.
yeah,
I think RCB's got it in them. It's just that last year nothing clicked for them. Let's hope this year things do click for them. And I think they deserve a lot more than
yeah,
fourth spot that they got
yeah,
last time. I think
yeah,
this time they will do a lot better.
yeah. Hopefully, and meanwhile, Babar Azam scored 100 as well in PSL to end the
Oh, of
stream.
course, of
Yeah,
course, of
so
course.
smoking
I
100
think
is what.
Babar Azam,
Yeah,
I have to say one thing though, Babar Azam seems to be practicing his throwing at spectators. I think that video that came out,
yeah.
which means he's really practicing his fielding as well. Come the T20 World Cup, you'll be seeing him throw the ball just as fast as he threw the bottle.
Babar Azam is
So
the
he did
captain
good.
of his team, right? So he's got.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I think they're doing pretty well, the Peshawar Zalmi team. So they are number 4 in the table, and they're doing a pretty decent job. One, two, lost two doesn't matter at the end of the day. Babar Azam scores runs, Pakistan sleeps well, or the whole world sleeps well, however you want to put it. But
Yeah.
very funnily, whenever a Pakistan captains a PSL team, they never happen to win matches. Lahore Qalandar have lost 5-5. I mean, it's just such a curse. I don't know why. Last time I remember Karachi lost some 9 out of 9 games or something like that, if I'm not wrong. So very similar. Defending champions losing 5-5. A ridiculous stat, to be honest. But yeah, it's some curse, I believe. Now all of a
I
sudden
think
people
they
are
had a
calling
very
for
close,
Shaheen
they had
Afridi
a
to be
very
sacked.
close match against whom was it? They had a very close match. They almost won their fifth match, but then the last ball, I think that ball went to the fence anyway. But yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right. Maybe if you're a franchisee in PSL, don't buy Pakistani captains, or maybe don't make the Pakistani captains captains.
Yeah, from what I know, like Rassi Vanadusan scored 100. I said, remember, we checked the scorecard as well.
Yes,
Rassi Vanadusan scored
yes.
100, but
At
they fell
200
10
strike
runs
rate,
short.
even.
Yeah, they still fell short. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But this PSL pitches have been so flat. I mean, all the games are about 200. It's pretty
No, even
crazy,
they're very
actually.
good cricketing pitches. The pitches are flat in India when India bats well, and bad when India balls well. That's how it works.
Oh, okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Nothing else to talk. That's it, guys. Good night. See you all soon. Bye bye.